Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'll be working on another forest. This is a Siberian elm forest that was given to me by Ricardo from the Toronto Bonsai Society. And I haven't done any work to these trees other than watering and fertilizing them over the summer. Most of the trees in this forest are cut down from taller trees. So you can see on the largest one here, it was cut off at the top and then new branches have grown, so I can see this one taking over as the new leader for this tree. Today's work will be trying to smooth out that transition where they were chopped off at the top, trying to get a nice transition so eventually it looks like it was never cut in the first place. Many of the smaller trees in this forest do have good transitions. You can see it was cut here and it's grown up top. So the smaller ones are quite nice, and I just noticed some of the leaves are starting to show some green on them. Uh-oh, that means my greenhouse is too warm. But a lot of the older ones, some of the thicker ones, you can see that where they're sawed off at the top and there's not a nice transition. So that's what I'll be working on today, is trying to get all these trees to look a little more natural. So far, this winter has been very warm. Most of the time it's kind of hovering around that freezing point or just slightly below. It's been unseasonably warm. So I might pay the price here in the greenhouse. I might get a lot of trees leafing out early. We'll have to take a look around today. So my elms here, you can see the leaves on it just starting to pop out. That's not very good. It's mid-January. There's no activity on the oaks over there. My apple is definitely dormant. The maples, the buds are swelling on it, but they haven't come out. Everything else is looking good. Here's my birch. All the buds are closed on that. Here's my royal oaks. The buds are closed on those. My red maples, everything's still dormant. So that's good. Let's go down below here. Everything's looking good here. My mulberry, my elms, my oaks, my maples, that's all looking good. Maples here. Oh, I see some activity on the French lilac. You can see some green buds swelling on that. So that's not so good. Oh, and then beside that, here is my amber maple and my, I think it's liquid amber. Yeah, they're definitely green and swelling. Larches are dormant. Cedars are dormant. Oh, here's another one over here. My cotoneaster. You can see some green leaves coming out on that. That's not good. And that's about it. Everything else, I think, is dormant. This elm's dormant. Birch is dormant. Yeah, it looks like that's the only ones, or those are the only ones that are coming out into leaf. Okay, well, that's not too bad, I guess. So if the temperature cools down again, I found those trees that the leaves are just starting to show on them, they just kind of sit there and do nothing. And then in spring, they have another push. So if I keep them cool enough, they're down here on the floor, they should stay quite cool. Hopefully, they'll stay dormant till later on this spring. I guess I've been babying my trees too much. I'll definitely turn the heater down, especially on these next few days where it's above freezing. I'll just turn the heater right off. I guess I've been keeping it a little too warm in here, and the trees are kind of starting to break dormancy. So yeah, every winter is different, and you kind of feel your way through those differences, hoping to adjust and get your trees into the spring nice and healthy. Let's get back to the elms now. So I'm going to begin pruning these elms. My basic theory for pruning these is I want to prune all my side branches very short, and if they have a leader up top, you can see this leader blends in perfectly, so I can cut it off shorter. But on ones like this, where you've got a thick trunk and a skinny leader, this leader needs to thicken up and blend in better with the original trunk. So I'll let this leader grow. I'll prune back all the branches and just let it go for another year. And that should help this transition from the original size of the trunk to the new leader. And then when that transition's looking good, you again cut it off short and repeat this process of generating new leaders, and eventually you get a nice tapered transition. I'm going to begin on this tree right here. So there's a branch sticking out the front. I'll just shorten that to here. There's a branch out the back. I'll shorten that one. This is the new leader. It blends in quite nicely. I could fix that stub up, but I don't want it this tall, so I'm going to cut it back, making maybe this the new leader or whatever shoots out. So I'll leave a bit of a stub like that, taking the whole top off that tree. And I'll just prune that back a little too. I'll take the green tip off it here, keeping it kind of dormant. This tree out front, same procedure. I'll prune the branch shorter. Any side branches will become shorter. I'm going to clean up these stubs, but I want to prune this top one. This one also blends in quite nicely. It needs a little cleanup, but I'm going to leave a bit and cut it off. Right there, taking that whole long top off the tree. So you can see it's pruned down to like a stick. Now let's improve that transition. So here's the first one. You can see there's the stub up here where it was pruned. The new leader is grown, so I'm going to make that transition a little smoother, like that. I could probably even come a little closer. So I'll get my nibbler and I'll just try and get this a little more flowing. Like that. I think that's a good transition into the new leader. I will seal that with my rubber cement. So here I go. And that is done. On this forest, there's no point in me worrying about the structure of the trees or the branches or anything until I get those trunk lines fixed. The trunk lines are one of the most important things on bonsai, and then your branch placement can come after that. Here is the next transition I'm going to fix up. So I'll start with this one. This must have been an original cut here. And you can see the stub of the original trunk line. And then I'll just nibble that away also. Getting it a little bit of a concave cut and a little more flush. Even more than that. That's good. And then it was cut again up here. I'll rotate it around. On this tree, that was the first cut, and now here's the big second cut. And you can see how the wound is kind of swelled up around that cut point. I don't think there's a whole lot I can do on this. I can't really prune it back even more flush. I think it was a good cut to begin with. It's just, yeah, the callus is just kind of swollen up, and that, as the tree grows thicker, will go away or diminish. So I think that can be just left how it is. I don't think I can clean it up anymore. All right, it's time to keep working on these trees. So here's one here. It comes up, it was cut at the top, and it's divided into two. I don't want it dividing into two. I just want one kind of continuation of the trunk line. And the reason for that is I don't want, these are going to be forest trees. So they'll have a tall, skinny upright trunk with a small canopy on top. There won't be, it won't look like a field-grown tree with, an umbrella canopy and all kinds of branches. It'll be, yeah, a very tall upright tree with a small compact apex. So I think I'm going to keep the leader out front here and prune back. I'll come on the angle here and prune off the back one like that. There's a dead branch there. And I'll just prune the apex back a bit. So you can see that's a cut point here, and that'll make a nice transition into the single leader. The next tree has some fairly big branches on it, so I'll cut those back. The reason I cut them back is you get it reduces the vigor in these branches, puts it more up into the apex, and I'll get movement and taper to these branches. I don't want big long straight branches like they are now, so I've got to prune them back quite short like that. Here's my leader. This one hasn't made a very good transition yet, so I'll be leaving much of the leader on. I will trim it back a little bit just so it's a little more compact. So I will go back to, if I don't trim it back, it'll quickly thicken up. Should I leave it? I don't think so. I think it'll get too vigorous and too tall and too big. So I'm going to come back to here like that, leaving a fair amount on there. Now this cut point I can clean up. It was cut on the angle, but I think I can go closer now, kind of cleaning that cut point up. So I'll do that. Coming in here like that. That should be good. I'll seal that up. Okay, so that's getting sealed up. I'll seal all my other cut points up. Seal the ones over here. And the one on top. There. So those are all sealed up. Yeah, this will still grow with a lot of vigor up here. It keeps it at a better size so this planting doesn't become too tall. So the next one is an interesting one. I'll just pull this weed out here. Let's have a look at this one. This one comes up. It was a rather thick tree. It was cut off very short to the ground and a new leader has grown up. It was pruned a couple of times up top, but let's deal with this cut first, making that a little smoother. So I'll come in on the angle here, like about here, and cut that off like that. Then I'll come in with my nibblers and nibble away a bit, just making it a little more concave. I think that's good. So I'll seal that up. Like that. And let's look at the rest of the tree now. So the rest of the tree, I've got a branch here I can prune back. One here I can prune back. It comes up very straight, and then I have a double kind of apex here where it divides into two. And again, I just want to keep my one. So I'll keep the one. This one has taper. It's come up, and then it's being pruned off here, and it tapers. So I'll remove this one totally. I'll just nibble that back too. Like that. Seal that cut up. So now I have the original trunk way down low, tapers to this thickness, tapers to this thickness, tapers to this thickness, and then I'll cut the top off here. So again, getting more taper and more, making the tree more compact. So the next tree I'll deal with is the one behind here. And it's an interesting one too because it has a lot of lower branches on it. And I don't want lower branches. So here's those lower branches on this tree. And they're too low. I don't want them low. These are going to be forest trees. So yeah, someone will say, oh, he's just making them into sticks. And that's basically what I'm doing. I'm making them into tapered sticks. That is my goal for today. Is just to prune these trees so they'll look like a forest tree. Which is much different from a field-grown tree. Something out in the open. So I'm taking off these lower branches. Now I've got a branch here. I don't know if that's too low. Probably isn't. I think I'll keep that one. I'll just prune off some of the shoots that are surrounding it, making it a little more compact, like that. And then I've got to prune this apex off. It's making that transition really well. This was a good cut on it, on the tree. It's healing, it's callousing. But you can see, there's no taper in this section. So I think I'll cut the apex back shorter. And I'm looking for a place. I think I'm going to go right back to here. So here I go. Like that, taking that whole top of the tree off. Here's another little skinny tree at the back here. So the skinny little tree comes up, has a branch here. I'll prune off shorter. It's made the transition to a new apex. I'll just prune that on the angle and maybe fix that up a bit. Ooh, that was a little too close. It's okay though. I'll seal that and it should heal itself quite nicely. It was a little too deep a cut, but it's okay. I've got enough living tissue connecting everything. Did I seal this up? No, I didn't. I'll seal my other cuts up. Okay. And then I want to prune this tree down in size. It's very tall and skinny, so I'll prune it back to here. Like that. That gets it a lot more compact. The next tree is this one here. So this one again has some lower branches that are too low, so I'll take those off. This one's too low. This one's too low. These are starting to get up to a reasonable height, so I'll keep some of these. I'll just prune them back shorter. This one's kind of thick. I'm going to get rid of that one totally. And then I've got a leader, and you can see it's not a great transition. It was cut on the angle here, hoping something would grow up here, but it didn't. It came over here, so I've got to fix that up. So I'll come in here and prune that on the angle. All right, here I go. I'll come in on the angle with my pruners. About like that, I think, and cut that off. Like that. And then I'll fix that up a bit. I guess that'll work. Seal that up. Then I'm going to cut the apex off. It's very tall and very non-tapering. Let's have a look at it. Here's that apex here. So it starts here, comes all the way up here, very, very tall. So I'm going to prune it off to somewhere about here. So here I go. Just like that. Again, getting this forest a little more compact. I'll finish pruning up the rest of the trees in the forest, except for the tallest one. I'll come back and we'll prune that one up together. I'm almost done pruning up the trees. My second last one is kind of interesting, the apex on it. So I thought I would show you what I'm going to do there. This tree was pruned off here, and I've got a couple of new branches that kind of form the apex, but the thicker one is down here. This one's too thick compared to these ones. If I wanted to prune the tree way back to that, making this the new apex, that would work. But in this case, I'm going to prune off the thicker branch and develop these finer ones into the apex of the tree. So here I go. I'm going to prune off that thicker branch totally, as flush as I can get it, like that. Then I can come in and just prune back some of these branches just a little bit. I'll take that one right off. Just pruning them back a bit to make them a little more compact. Like that. I think that will do quite nicely. This cut at the top isn't too bad. Let me rotate it around. Here's that cut on the top. So I have a living branch here and a living branch here. So ideally this would be cut on the opposite angle. I'm not going to do it yet because this doesn't look all that strong. Once these two branches thicken up, then I can prune this back and make it a little more flush. That just leaves me now with the largest tree in the planting. So let's get that pruned up. I'll zoom in on the cut point up top. So here is the top of the tree. You can see this is a nice natural leader. The cut point is on an angle. It looks quite good. It's not... I could prune it up a little bit, make it look a little neater, I think. So I'll take that little branch off the side there. I'll have to use my nibblers. Hardwood, this deadwood. Now in this forest I don't have to use every tree. Like if this one, the tallest tree here, if it's not a very good looking tree, I don't have to use it. I don't have to have a giant tree in the forest. But if I can use it, I will. It's nice to get a variety of sizes. I don't know if this is going to reduce back too easily. It'll be about as cleaned up as I can get it. I'm into the living tissue around the far side. Yeah, we'll just leave it like that. So I've got a couple of branches here. I've got my apex, and these are kind of thick and quite well developed. So I want to prune those either right off or shorten them, because I have a lot of light, delicate branches in this area. So I'm thinking I'll prune it right off and develop the finer branches. So here they go. They're coming off like that. And this one's coming off here like that. I have one lower down here that I can also prune off shorter like that. So you can see all the other branches are just wispy little branches on the tree. And then I will cut the apex down a bit so it's not quite so tall, back to here like that, and it'll shoot up all kinds of vigor here in spring. So I think that is it. Let's step back and have a look at the forest now. Here is a look at the forest now. So you can see they really are, reduced back to kind of sticks in pots, but I'm trying to get them to be tapered sticks, which will be the future trunk lines, and then we'll develop the branches, and it should look pretty nice someday. I will be repotting this forest in springtime, making an arrangement, and originally I said I was going to use my VW Beetle. It could be one for the new truck model, maybe. Someone suggested I make it a Chernobyl scene. So I could have like radiation signs here saying keep out radioactive area. So it could be a future Chernobyl type forest. I noticed there's a pruned off branch down low here that needs to be cleaned up, so I'll do that. All right, let me come in. If I can reach in here and try and get that branch pruned back. It's kind of hard to get in here with the pruners. Maybe from above like this. Try nibbling it away a bit. I do like the idea of a Chernobyl type forest. The forests around Chernobyl now are full of wildlife. There's still some highly radioactive sections to it, but a lot of it has recovered and become this, fantastic nature area, reserve. Hard to get in here. I think that's pretty good. I'll get my glue on that wound. Yeah, that'll do. That should heal over fairly nicely. You'll always see a scar there, but eventually it'll look quite natural. Here is another look at the forest, and I think the trees are arranged quite nicely in this pot. I don't think I'll change it a whole lot, maybe space them out a little more. But other than that, I think the arrangement is quite nice. The tallest tree in the middle kind of has an asymmetrical overall triangle shape. There's smaller trees in the back for perspective. So I think it's a pretty natural looking planting. And that's one thing that's always appealed to me about this forest, is that it looks very, very natural. It doesn't look like it's contrived or arranged. It just looks like a real forest. Here in the bonsai zone, we're having our third sunny day in a row. It's not full sun today, but it's awfully bright out. There's a light cloud cover. But yeah, 3 days of sunshine in a row. It's amazing. The trees in the plant room are looking really, really good. I've turned the heat off for the next few days. I still have the fan running, but the heater is now off. So that should keep it a little cooler in here, and hopefully everything will stay dormant. I'll keep you posted. Let's have a look at what I pruned off the forest today. So here it is. Here's all the branches and twigs I pruned off. Quite a bit. Now these elms would probably grow from cuttings if you kept them moist and hydrated, but I have enough elms, so I'm not going to use them. I think this forest is going to be really, really cool. So thank you very much, Ricardo, for giving me these trees. Ricardo gave me this forest at the Toronto Bonsai Society's spring show and sale. So I've had it, well, it's coming up a year this spring, and I haven't been able to do much with the forest. I let the forest grow and gain vigor because I knew I'd be doing root pruning in the spring, so I wanted lots of vigor in the trees. So today is the first time I worked on them, pruning them back. They'll get repotted in spring into a forest pot, and we'll develop that theme, probably that Chernobyl theme with maybe an abandoned car or truck or something in it. I think it'll look quite nice. So that is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.